Up next are the power rifles. These include the Scar H, TAR-21, and the AK-47. These three don't share as much in common as the accurate rifles, but are similar enough to be grouped together. First, all of these guns do 40 damage up close and 30 at long range. This means 3 bullets to kill up close and 4 at long range. But if you throw on stopping power, it becomes 56 damage up close and 42 at long range, which lowers the bullets to kill to 2 up close and 3 at long range. That makes all 3 stopping power optimal, and I will address stopping power in relation to each gun when we get there. I'm just getting the numbers game out of the way right now. Second, they all drop off from 40 to 30 at the exact same range. I didn't expect that, but that's what the stats show. Third, all feature lower rates of fire of anywhere from 630 RPM to 750 RPM. Other than that, these rifles are pretty unique.
It's true. It's not true.
Yeah, it's true, despite what the Devil Man may say. I'm not going to bother doing a breakdown because of this. I really don't think that would serve any purpose because the strengths and weaknesses vary pretty distinctly from gun to gun. Up first is the Scar H, or as most people will know it,
Scar.
Scars, just you.
Scar.
You unlock this at level 8. The Scar is fully automatic, with a magazine of 20 bullets, or 30 if you have extended mags. The gun fires at a rate of 630 RPM. Outside of semi-automatic and burst fire weapons, this is the slowest fire rate for a primary in the game. To make up for this, however, the recoil is low and very easy to manage. The spread of the bullets is very tight, and the gun is accurate to a very long range. You may not fire shots as fast as other guns, but provided you can aim, you won't miss much either. The irons on this gun are incredible.
You have no idea.
Most irons bring some debate about whether it's usable or not, but that's not the case here. Just look at them. The Scar's irons are about as clear as irons on a gun can get. Because of this, the red dot sight and holographic sight are borderline laughable on the Scar. The irons are one of the biggest strengths, so using either of those sights makes little sense. The Scar's gameplay can be incredibly varied. This is up there with the M4A1 as one of the best all-purpose weapons in the game. Not only do you have strong, accurate shots, but having such good irons frees up the need for a sight, and thus opens up the possibilities to attachments that can further strengthen the gun on the whole. You can handle just about any range of combat, except for long range, where snipers have the advantage. You'll see this gun a lot, as both newer and veteran players frequently will be using the Scar. The gun does come with a few weaknesses though.
Life's not fair, is it?
First, the 20 bullet magazine is a big weakness. For your attachment, most people will argue extended mags, making your magazine size 30 so you don't have to chronically reload. The logic makes sense, but in practice I just can't confirm that it's worthwhile. My experience is that it isn't necessary, as 20 bullets is normally enough to handle a few encounters before needing to reload. Maybe it's just me, but I seem to do worse when I use the extended mags. I have always leaned towards the silencer, FMJ, and even the ACOG. The bullets are powerful enough that the silencer doesn't rob the gun of its strength, and FMJ is the polar opposite, serving to accentuate the power of the gun. The ACOG is actually a half-decent fit on the Scar, as the recoil is low enough that the ACOG actually works. Who would have guessed?
I despise guessing games.
For your blue perk, I highly recommend either Scavenger or Sleight of Hand. You only get 60 starting bullets. Scavenger will up this to 140. The reloads are slow. Sleight of Hand will cut this in half. For your red perk, I say stick to stopping power. To be honest, you can get away without it, but the TAR, which I haven't reviewed yet, is a better choice if you honestly don't want to use stopping power. For your third tier perk, it's really up to you. In a nutshell, the Scar is capable of great power, but it can't maintain it. The strengths of this gun are a combination of strong bullet power, high accuracy, low recoil, and solid irons. These combine to make this one of the most liked guns in the game. The weaknesses, however, are small magazines, relatively bad reload times, and a bad ammo loadout.
Talk about your fixer-upper.
Pick and choose between Scavenger, Sleight of Hand, and extended mags. You should be able to come up with a kit in the Scar that will fit your needs. Up next is the TAR-21, or TAR for short. You unlock this at level 20. The TAR is fully automatic with a magazine of 30 bullets, or 45 if you have extended mags. The gun fires at a rate of 750 RPM. This is a medium rate of fire for Modern Warfare 2, but combined with the high bullet power up close, this gun has the fastest time to kill of the assault rifles, provided you have selected stopping power. The drawback, however, is you gain recoil that I can best describe as horrible.
Well, maybe not that horrible, but still pretty bad.
I'll rephrase. The recoil isn't obnoxious like on the F2000 where it will randomly go off in directions, but instead skips around from side to side, making long-range shots hard to place. Up close, this isn't an issue, but you will definitely need to learn to burst fire this gun to be effective at long range. The irons on this gun are disappointing. I've never been crazy about them, but I won't call them crap either. The main thing for me is the individual posts just seem overly thick. And honestly, this is an annoyance. I know people out there will swear by the irons, so I'm just going to call this a neutral point. Personal preference. You'll either love it or hate it. While we're on the topic of sights, I should mention that the sight you get on this gun for a red dot sight is a Mars sight. It will get sun glare on it, which is kinda cool if you're feeling a bit trippy, but if you're trying to place a shot, it can be a frustration. The red dot sight doesn't go away during an EMP though. I take issue here though, and it's because there really isn't a sight I like on this gun. The irons are at best passable. The Mars sight seems awkward, and the holographic sight just to me has never been precise enough for long range combat. Outside of the sights, however, the power of the bullets combined with a decent rate of fire makes this one of the most effective weapons at fighting at close to medium range. With stopping power, you have the fastest killing time of the assault rifles. Magazine size and default ammo loadout are good, so this gun really brings a lot to the table. I know this gun is popular among the more hardcore players, but it never has quite made sense to me why this is.
Everybody's okay with this?
Did I miss something?
Here's my take. I don't like the TAR. It has always boggled my mind as to why I don't care for the gun. The stats are all there. 750 RPM, 40 to 30 damage, 30 bullet magazines, usable irons. But it just has enough annoying recoil that I find it to be an unnecessary frustration to use compared to guns like the SCAR or ACR. I'm not calling it unmanageable, but just annoying enough that I don't want to use it. I know the TAR has crazy abilities with stopping power, but in practice it just seems to fail.
This stinks.
Oh, sorry.
Not you.
On paper, I see why this gun is potentially one of the most powerful assault rifles in the game, but in practice, I've just never been a fan. Moving on, for your attachment, it's pretty open. The most popular attachment I've seen is the silencer, as the bullets are already strong, so the silencer doesn't rob the gun of power. For your blue perk, it's your choice, whatever strikes your fancy. For your red perk, this is one assault rifle where stopping power isn't mandatory. This is one of the advantages of the gun I do like. The fire rate and bullet power are strong enough that you don't need it. Stopping power takes the gun from effective to borderline berserker. For the third tier perk, again, use whatever pleases you. The strengths of this gun are a combination of strong bullet power coupled with a decent fire rate. There's no denying the gun is one of the most effective short-range weapons in the game. The irons and sights are a neutral point, but the gun's weaknesses are the recoil and how poor this gun is at range. You're forced to burst fire at long range to stand a chance. All in all, I honestly don't quite get why I don't like this gun. It just doesn't make sense to me.
One of life's baffling mysteries, kind of like how Jean-Claude Van Damme ever had an acting career.
The last assault rifle is the AK-47. I'm not even going to attempt to say what the AK sounds like in Russian because I'm going to butcher the Russian language. You unlock this gun at level 70. It brings a 30 bullet magazine, or 45 if you have extended mags. The gun has a fire rate of 666 RPM.
What?
666, Chode. It's the sign of the devil.
The recoil and accuracy on this gun is hard to describe. The accuracy of the gun is actually quite high. The spread of the bullets is low. The problem is the gun has a purely visual recoil that can make placing your shots difficult if you don't know what you're doing. It won't skip around on you like with the TAR, but rather will hop up and back down in between each shot. That's what throws people off. The gun is actually resetting itself before each shot, so the accuracy is actually quite high. but the visual recoil makes this hard to see. The irons on the AK are very clear. The problem is the sights are very close to the gun compared to, say, the red dot sight or holographic. With the irons, you basically put the sight on the target and pray the spray hits them. When you place the center point of the sight higher on the gun, the visual recoil becomes less of a distraction. So a red dot sight or holographic sight isn't a horrible choice here. It'll help with more distant fighting.
This is getting quite amusing.
The AK-47 is really hard to explain in terms of gameplay. The best way I can think to describe it is this. It's the bastard child of the M4A1 and SCAR. You get the powerful shots and rate of fire of the SCAR, but the magazine size, reload time, and accuracy of the M4. This sounds like you're getting an overpowered rifle, but you get the visual recoil to knock the gun down a peg. Because of the visual recoil, this gun just isn't an ideal long-range weapon. You can certainly do it, especially if you can learn to burst fire, but to be honest, there are better choices for long-range combat. That doesn't mean the AK is a poor gun though. Once you get used to the visual kick, this gun is flat out lethal, as one of my favorites. You can't argue with the combination of power and accuracy. You just have to learn to get used to the kick.
Oh, goody.
For your attachment, what's odd is I actually recommend no attachment. This gun gains idle sway when you put an attachment on it. When you have no attachment, the gun doesn't move. To be honest, it's always worked for me, and it's the version I prefer. While we're on the topic of attachments, I should mention that the grenade launcher is not the typical M203, which, by the way, really should only be on the M4 and M16, but I digress. The AK brings the GP25. The only differences in gameplay is that the reload is just a smidgen longer as you actually reach out and put the grenade in the launcher, but the switch to time for the grenade launcher is half the time as compared to the other rifles. Other than that, the grenades are identical.
Yes. Well, forgive me for not leaping for joy. Bad back, you know.
Choosing your blue perk is very open to discussion. It honestly depends on which one you like. For your red perk, I again prefer stopping power. If you're not going to use stopping power, the TAR is a better choice. The third tier perk is also your choice. Use whatever you're comfortable with. The main advantages to remember about the AK-47 is the good combination of accuracy, power, magazine size, reload time, and irons. This gun really has a lot going for it. The big disadvantages are the slower fire rate and the visual recoil. This gun hinges around how you can adapt to that recoil. If you can master it, this gun will be your friend.